take a one-game lead. The Phillies had 3 homers, including one by Bryce Harper on his 31st birthday. Ty Miller, Power Sports, Egon.
Election Day for Pitt County Municipality is November 7th. Early voting begins October 19th. There will be a Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forum October 17th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock p.m. sharp at Pitt Community College, the Go-Ed Student Center. All 61 candidates in the Pitt County municipal elections have been invited. This candidate forum is free and open to the public. There will be an opportunity for questions from the audience, informal meet and greet, 5:30 p.m. The candidate forum starts 6 o'clock p.m. sharp. Make plans to attend this forum. Tuesday, October 17th, a Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forum to include all 10 municipalities. All candidates have been invited. Free and open to the public at Pitt Community College, the Go-Ed Student Center, October 17th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock p.m. For more information and to help volunteer, 252-756-3137. 252-756-3137. We look forward to your participation October 17th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock p.m. for a Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forum. The more we know about our candidates, the better informed we are to vote.
News is information. Information is knowledge. Knowledge is power.
I'm Jerry Scott. As President Biden preparing to head to the region, the U.S. working to break a deadlock over delivering aid to millions of increasingly desperate civilians in the Gaza Strip, besieged and under assault by Israel since the attack by Hamas on Israel. Israeli airstrikes today pounding Gaza, killing dozens of people in the besieged enclaves south, with Israel telling civilians from the north to seek shelter ahead of an expected ground offensive. U.S. troops on standby for deployment to the region. A 6-year-old Palestinian-American boy fatally stabbed in Chicago, allegedly by the 71-year-old landlord of his mother's apartment. Man also attacking the boy's mother, leaving her badly wounded. Prosecutors saying the attacks linked to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. House Republicans today considering one of their own, Ohio's Jim Jordan, as Speaker. Some super PACs supporting black men in South Carolina. U.S. Senator Tim Scott for president cutting back on advertising time purchased for the fall. Committee's writing to supporters, quote, "We aren't going to waste our money when the electorate isn't focused or ready for an alternative to the current GOP frontrunner, Donald Trump." Memo also saying the group would wait until closer to Iowa caucusing to reconsider. Meantime, Tanya Chutkin, the federal judge overseeing the 2020 election interference case against Mr. Trump in D.C., imposing a narrow gag order on Mr. Trump, barring him from making statements targeting prosecutors, possible witnesses, and court staff. Mr. Trump on social media saying he's appealing the order, calling it unconstitutional, adding it's only helping him in polling. In Savannah, black residents of a tiny island enclave founded by enslaved ancestors filing suit seeking to stop a new zoning law they say will raise taxes and force them to sell their homes. Territories in one of the South's last surviving Gullah Geechee communities. Black residents fearing larger homes in the community, leading to higher property taxes they can't afford. Also saying county commissioners intentionally targeting a mostly poor black community to benefit wealthy white land buyers and developers. Drugstore chain Rite Aid filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
WBISLP 1069, Winterville, Ayden, Grifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Police Report Show. The Police Report Show was created to keep the public informed and to build and maintain a positive relationship with the community. WBISLP 106.9 FM, Winterville, Ayden, Grifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina. Outside the listening area, tune in on WBISAwesomeRadio.org.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Coach Garrison, for that introduction. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Get right into the business, ladies and gentlemen. Find us on social media, GPAT23, Awesome Radio, WBISLP. Download the app today. I mean, you got to have it. By all means, go to your Apple Store, go to Google Play, and get that app. Catch us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even while you're driving locally. Thank you again for joining us. We have a very, very powerful show today, but I do want to bring you a very important announcement before we go. The Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forum will be taking place today, October 17th at 2023. That's right, 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. All candidates have been invited. It's important to know that all candidates have been invited. It'll be live streamed to multiple social media platforms. We appreciate you liking, share, and subscribing. Kick this thing around on the World Wide Web so that people that need it can begin to feed and get that knowledge. Social media platforms also recorded live for playback. Playback. I just made up another word. Playback
Payback.
on local TV, GPAT 23. All right. Now the informal meet and greet starts at 5:30. So if you want to meet Dr. Glenn Johnson or yours truly, Coach Garrison, you can see us likely at the event tonight. All right. It's at Pitt Community College, the Go Ed Student Center, 169 Bulldog Run, Reedy Branch Road, Winterfield, North Carolina. If you need more information, you can call 252-756-3137. All right, that's a bit of housekeeping now. We're about to go into what I consider a life or death subject. But right before I do that, Dr. Johnson wants to address the panel, and then we'll introduce ourselves in case you haven't met the rest of the crew.
I do want to address the panel, and I will begin with Sergeant Darnell and Muhammad. Did you hear Coach Garrison a few minutes ago refer to himself in the third party? When he said, "Thank you, Coach Garrison, for a nice introduction," he was referring to himself in the third party.
Yeah, it worked too.
He's a. I no. Let me stop right there.
Everybody went along with it except you. That's interesting, right? Even Vernon went along with it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a distinguished gentleman, a pillar in the community. He is a articulate strategist behind the Pitt County Sheriff's Department, or Sheriff's Office, if you will.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Lee Darnell is with us. Before we go to him, we also have Muhammad Inab, who is a alumni of Pitt Community College, graduate in cybersecurity. So we will hear from both of them today. Right now, we're going to start with Sergeant Lee Darnell. What's the goings on, sir, and how are you?
Hey, it's good to see you, my friends. I'm well, and I hope you are. It's the fall of the year, starting to cool off a little bit. We survived Friday the 13th, but Halloween's coming. Ghosts and goblins about, but it's all going to be okay. We're going to take care of each other, stay safe, and it's cooling off out there a little bit. The world's getting to be a scary place. Have that war over in the Middle East now, stressing out a little bit, but praying hard for the world, praying hard for us here at home. But I'm happy to see your faces, happy to be on the radio here with the people of Pitt County, and just there it is. So,
And before Muhammad introduces himself, I just want to say to everybody, Sergeant Darnell, he's one of our top representatives. And just the other day, I was reading an email that he sent where he said he was sorry that he couldn't make the last police report show. He really wanted to make it because although there was a officer on for the North Carolina Wildlife, he wanted to be on so he could learn from that officer as much as he could too. And see, I said, I appreciate people like that, always willing to learn something, because nobody knows it all. Everybody learns something new every day. Tomorrow, you will wake up and see something that you have never seen before. So I appreciate Sergeant Darnell for mentioning that in the email, because Sergeant Darnell is one of our amazing scholars, and a scholar is someone that continues to learn. So hats off to you, Sergeant Darnell.
All right. Well, Mr. Muhammad, give us about 30 seconds of what you're going to talk about today.
Well, we're going to be talking about how we can't really rely on technologies because everything is digital, and we can't be sure that if it's legit or real or fake. Because recently, I just found something that you might be interested in. That's a fake, what hackers use to their advantages.
Okay. Well, I look forward to that session.
Yeah.
No doubts.
And A lot of our automobiles are now computerized and things like that. As a matter of fact, 2 days ago, I was at a service station and I'm at the register when a girl come charging back inside the service station to tell the attendant. She said, "Sir, my car would not accept the gas that I'm trying to put in there. It says you have selected the incorrect octane." She had a Jaguar. It would not let her put what she chose to put in there. I said, "That car is smart. That's that computerized system telling her you need to put some higher octane fuel in here, not that cheap stuff." And they let her know she couldn't put it in there, so she had to cancel the order out and start all over again.
If you did try to put something, if you did put something cheap, it probably wouldn't handle that kind of stress and it'd probably damage the car.
That's right. Artificial intelligence is on the way, was already here. So we'll just go with that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is a very, very serious subject. And as usual, I have an interesting take on it, but we're talking about domestic violence today. And we have a representative here who's been involved in it in this county for years now. Today, I am going to have trivia for everyone, as I usually try to have some entertaining aspects of the show. We're going to have what you call myth or fact, and you're going to have to determine whether it's a myth or a fact. And before I let Sergeant Darnell start the subject off, I'll start us off. I'll get us warmed up with a myth or fact and see if everybody can get this. Okay, is this a myth or a fact? Domestic violence is a private family private family matter. Is that a myth or a fact?
Myth.
Okay. Anybody want to disagree? I don't see any disagreeers. Domestic violence is everyone's business. Keeping domestic violence secret helps no one. It has been shown to harm children and incurs substantial cost to society and serves to perpetrate abuse through learned patterns of behavior. And during my research a little earlier, I saw domestic abuse, domestic violence as one of the lowest reported crimes in America. Now that I have never seen in writing. I'm gonna turn it over to Sergeant Lee Darnell.
Well, it um, it is very oftentimes not reported for a variety of reasons. Sometimes people are ashamed to report it. They're scared to report it for a variety of reasons. They don't want people to know the situation they're in. They're scared that they can't get out of it, or they don't know what will happen if they try to get out of it, that it will get worse if they get out, or people won't support them, or they still love the person that's abusing them and they don't want to see that person go down. They don't want to see that person fail at work or in life or with their families. There's so many bad reasons that hold people back. But the problem is when we end up getting involved, and lives are lost, lives are ruined, children are involved. I've seen so many things I wish I could unsee. The silence just breeds more violence, and we all have to find a way to get through that to help save these people's lives.
Okay, go ahead, Doc.
I was just going to say domestic violence has a couple of different labels now, or names, if you will. Domestic violence, also described as domestic abuse or intimate partner violence, is all one and the same. Coach?
I gotta say, this one leads me right into my next myth or fact. And I'm going to, spit it out after I give you guys the test. And audience, you should be taking this too. Most of the time, domestic violence is not really that serious. Is that a myth or is it a fact? Most of the time, domestic violence is not really that serious.
That's definitely got to be a myth. because it is serious.
It's serious. It's pretty much a myth, but serious it is. Nobody wants to tell the truth because they might read if they say something, it might happen to them or their loved ones. Who knows? I mean, like they might target someone else. Like, like like if you file a report of harassment, you're afraid they might not go through, and they probably just fire you off the bat, just like that.
Well, I won't ask the police this question that's present here today. Domestic violence is an illegal act in the U.S. and considered a crime with serious repercussions. Although there are aspects of domestic violence, example, emotional, physiological, spiritual abuse, that may not be considered criminal and legal in a legal sense, serious and long-lasting physical, emotional, and spiritual harm can often does occur. Each and every act of domestic violence needs to be taken seriously. Sergeant Darnell, do you
Sir.
find the people that you have come in contact with display the narcissist behavior? Because I'm about to vote for moral police in society, that they go around and arrest all the narcissist people. I'm not saying I don't suffer from overeating on chicken wings or any issue that I have, but I will say this: that narcissism to me it seems to be, and I'm asking a formidable question, and I'm talking about the clinical definition of narcissism. They gaslighting, they're the center of attention. They really have a state of mind, delusion of grandeur that they are it. Is that common when you've spoken to domestic violence criminals?
In speaking to domestic violence criminals, I've personally seen the whole gamut of personalities and responses, everything from the classic narcissist to the picture of the person that initially I just can't see it, or maybe I don't want to see it, to immediately it's in my face. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, oh yeah, this person doesn't belong in public. um, I
So you
feel abused just talking to them. um, as far as being moral police, we still all have constitutional rights, of course, and we have to police within everyone's constitutional rights, um, whether we all as a society want to or not. Uh, that's the reality, and that's important, or we wouldn't be a moral society. Um, but um, we have that variety of personalities out there with domestic violence aggressors, and that whole spectrum of behaviors that they exhibit and take out on their victims, and the problems that they cause for their victims. Everything from the minor abuses, and there truly is no minor abuse. It's all wrong, to that very violent death, and it will escalate in often cases, begin small and worsen over time. And that's something that's hard to get people to understand sometimes. Yes, it may only be this now, but over time, it very well may worsen. So, try to find that way to remove yourself from that situation.
Could you give us a window into how you guys arrive on the scene? I know probably a few years back, I was told that when you arrive on the scene, now you look for injuries on both parties, and if you feel that both, you know, people have been fighting, I guess you got domestic abuse with two male couple, a male, and a female on female, and so I guess we shouldn't assume that it's just male on female. When I grew up, it was my mom that beat the mess out of my dad all the time. So, but when you go to a scene, are you still arresting both parties, or you taking them both to jail for 3 days? How does that work in actually right now, boots on the ground, when you show up and say, have you all been beating up on each other? The neighbors called.
Well, every case is its own individual case, and they have to go in and investigate each one on its own merits and look for the evidence of the case, separate the parties, and really see what they have. The physical evidence, the 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 information that each party can provide as far as what happened at that specific point in time. Now, of course, we can always hear, well, here's what they generally do, here's what they did last night, last week, look at their criminal history, things like that. But they'll look at the evidence of that moment in time. What did they do today? Did they touch you? What did they say? What did they do? Did they threaten you? Do you have any marks on you? Things like that. And we'll do an in-depth investigation. We'll involve some outsiders, sometimes place calls to specialists and get them involved by phone to do surveys, to look at how at risk they are at that moment, to try to help them gauge their risk and provide avenues for help. We have victim advocates here in our office who are specialists in domestic violence that can help them prepare avenues of assistance. That doesn't mean our goal here is to get you out. That's not the case. If you want out, we're going to try to help you out, but we're going to provide you avenues. We're going to listen to you and provide you options, and we're going to help you, whatever that means for you. Domestic violence protection orders, going to refer you to different government agencies, nonprofits, help you with paperwork, going to let you know how processes work, going to help you overcome the hurdles. At that moment, you've been through so much is weighing down on you. Sometimes you need someone to sit down, listen to you, help you digest these things, explain things to you, and really hold your hand to help you through this process. And that person's always not wearing a badge. These victim advocates are not deputies. They're specialists to advocate for you.
Now, Sarge, you might not get a chance to answer this fully before we go to the break, but when we come back, you can answer it in detail. So I'm going to have a question for you, and that is texting 911 in Pitt County if you're in a domestic violence situation, because they would prefer that you text if you can't utilize the telephone. Unlike some other jurisdictions where they know codes, like for instance in Ohio, a young lady called 911, and when the police officer answered the phone, she's like, "Yeah, I need a large pizza." He said, "Ma'am, you have 911, you don't have a pizza place." She said, "No, sir, you don't understand. I need a large pizza with pepperoni." And the officer immediately knew it was a domestic violence situation. But I remember talking to somebody here in Pitt County. They said they'd rather not you use a code, which is why they have texting 911. If you can answer that when we come back from the break, Vernon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This is a Police First Responders Report. I'm your co-host, Coach Garrison, and with Dr. Glenn Johnson. We will be right back after this sponsor break. WBISLP 106.9.
Does the thought of sharing your faith with others,
Guys, can you hear me?
This is Real Family.
I'm not getting very good sound on my end. I've got my sound turned all the way up, and I'm not hearing very well at all. I heard a little bit about pizza and texting, and I couldn't pick up all of the conversation there.
without Jesus Christ and how much
Yeah.
others really need him. Missionary D.T. Niles described Christianity simply as one beggar telling another beggar where to find bread. Ha, I like that. One final thought. What's Christ done for you? Take a moment right now to think of a simple way to tell others. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. I'm Dennis Rainey, and that's real gospel sharing, family.
This is Sophronia Foster. This is Awesome Radio, WBIS-LP.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Police Report First Responders, WBISLP 106.9 FM. All right, we are in the core of our subject, domestic violence, and your co-host Vernon Garrison, along with Dr. Glenn Johnson, and we are talking to Sergeant Lee Darnell of the Pitt County Sheriff's Office, and go right ahead, Glenn.
Audio check for Sergeant Lee Darnell. Audio check.
That was decent. Not the best on my end, but I could hear that a little better, I guess.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. So now, Dr. Johnson had addressed him with a question or a concept that he wanted a comment from Sergeant Lee. And right after that, I got a myth that you guys might just get wrong. So get your heads right, and then we're going to go to cybersecurity corner.
After we have get some confirmation from Sergeant Darnell on my question.
Yep. Okay. And he didn't really hear your question that well. That's what, that's what he was referring to.
All right, so Sarge, unlike some other jurisdictions, for instance, in Ohio, a young lady called 911 and she said, I need a large pizza. The officer responded, ma'am, you have it wrong, but this is not the Pizza Hut. And she said, no, sir, you don't understand what I mean. I need a large pizza with pepperoni. So then the officer realized from what she said, it was a domestic violence situation. But I recall talking to an officer or somebody from the Pitt County EMS side that said they prefer not to use any kind of codes, which is why they have texting 911 in Pitt County. What's your thought on that, sir?
Well, whatever works. Texting is wonderful. You can just come right out and say it. At the same time, an upset person will take away a phone, and we have it happen all the time. Somebody will be on the phone with one of our dispatchers and will snatch the phone right out of their hand and will hang up, or we'll take it away and we'll smash it, we'll throw it up against a wall. We have that happen quite often. I do have a concern with somebody taking it away and reading it, which is a problem with texting. But, it's great, especially if you're hiding. That's a blessing. If you're hiding, you can be quiet and text, or laying in bed and texting. So many blessings to texting 911. It's a great feature. And during a domestic, it's a great feature too. Great positives and negatives involved. And that just boils down to the person and what they're comfortable with in their situation. They just have to weigh that out. Just whatever works for them. If I'm a dispatcher and somebody calls and says that, I'm just going to have to go with it. I think we're smart enough to figure that out.
Yeah, because I don't want to give too many examples. But I know there was another one where someone actually called Domino's, and from what the caller was telling the person that answered the phone, she knew right away that person was in a domestic violence situation and helped save her and her child. So sometimes it worked, but I know other jurisdictions have their procedures. So that's quite understandable.
Right.
Coach Garrison.
Yeah. Well, great question. Great question. All right. Before we go to Muhammad, I'll ask the question and give everybody a chance to think about it. Domestic violence is an impulse control or anger management problem. Is that a myth or a fact? Don't answer that. Mr. Muhammad, what's going on? And we got to get you some music. Cybersecurity corner. What's going on over there?
Well, there's a lot of things that are digital, and we don't know if they're legit or fake. Not to mention, hackers who have able to gain people's voices to make a clone of it, make it sound like that was them. They even use it to post it on YouTube, make it sound like it was those people who made that video, but it wasn't them trying to get identity theft. So what I'm saying is, everything is digital would make it a lot more harder to find out if it's legit or fake. Recently, I just found out a fake 404 error. Hackers uses it on an online retail website to hide malicious code in order to steal customers' credit card information. And, and these attackers are part of the variant observed by researchers in the Security Intelligence Group. Other attackers' methods include concealing codes in the HTML image tags one error and the image binary to make it appear as a meta pixel code snippet and bleeping computer reported. While the campaign is mainly targeted at Magneto and WooCommerce sites, hackers are also targeting re- renowned organizations in the food and retail sectors. At least that's what the report says.
Well, you got yourself in some deep water there with them like them Harvard Law School words. So let me see if I can translate what you were saying. Uh, I don't speak much better when I'm reading. I can't talk. You're saying that these little error messages that pop up on the screen when we click them, they are taking the information or they're phishing. What are the error messages? How are they using those to deceive us?
Actually, they made it seem legitimate, but it's actually a fake 404 error.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it look so that way they can see what they got. Let's say this: there's always a third party, unwanted guest who spy on their credit card information without you knowing.
Right.
So they might have already seen everything to gain credit card information, such as your PIN numbers or your card numbers.
So you're saying they hacked all the way into our computer, and then we see an error 404 dialog box come up on the screen, and we're gonna just hit X.
Even if you did click X, it probably just needed. It would just still keep popping up repeatedly, no matter what you try to do.
It's a sign that there may be someone an indication that there may be someone hacking into your system.
Exactly. These things are not really hackers are sneaky, but they always try something new. They will do anything they can to get money. For what I think hackers did not. I don't think hackers wanted to be hackers in general for themselves. Maybe because of what they had to live with. Um, Laid off organization. They're probably on laid off from the organization they used to work with, or probably because they didn't get a job that what they study, and they probably did something they didn't want to do, hacking systems and trying to make money for themselves.
Got you. Well, thank you.
Mama, let me ask you a question. This is about remoting somebody's computer because a lot of people are skeptical about using remote software to remote somebody's computer. They are so afraid. I've been using remote software to remote somebody else's computer from my home for a long time. I haven't had an issue, but every time I talk to somebody, says, no, they stop using because they think somehow somebody's getting into their computer. I said, well, how could they get in your computer if you don't have your computer on and they don't have the password?
Well, that's a lot of complicated things. You see, if you want to email the people, try and make it encrypted. You see, there's two ways for that. If you're using it on email or Outlook email. For Outlook, click the new email, and click the option toolbox. And on that toolbox, click the encrypt menu. On the encrypt menu, click encrypt only. So that way they would see it instead of unwanted, and other people would be able to see it. Hackers, nobody would be able, a third party wouldn't be able to know what it is or what you sent them.
And my last question for you is this: because we see these on TV or in the movies, but could this actually be done? Say, for instance, you had a door you had to enter that had a keypad that required a 4-digit code. It would listen to the dial tone of you inputting the code. And could you copy or record that code and put put the recorder up to the box and it will open the door upon hearing the tones. Is that even possible?
Well, well, from when I type in the computers, every time when I type in the password, I type in my login, it has my saved password. So I'd say not. That's kind of different story if you try and type in your PIN. So that way they respect your privacy, so nobody else can gain access to it.
No, Glenn. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got 15 seconds before the break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this anger control or whatever that might be that's causing people to beat folks up in a relationship. All right, WBISLP 106.9. We'll be right back.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Election Day for Pitt County Municipality is November 7th. Early voting begins October 19th. There will be a Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forum October 17th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock p.m. sharp at Pitt Community College, the Go-Ed Student Center. All 61 candidates in the Pitt County municipal elections have been invited. This candidate forum is free and open to the public. There will be an opportunity for questions from the audience. Informal meet and greet 5:30 p.m. The candidate forum starts 6 o'clock p.m. sharp. Make plans to attend this forum. Tuesday, October 17th, a Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forum to include all 10 municipalities. All candidates have been invited. Free and open to the public at Pitt Community College, the Go-Ed Student Center, October 17th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock p.m. For more information and to help volunteer, 252-756-3137. 252-756-3137. We look forward to your participation October 17th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock p.m. for a Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forum. The more we know about our candidates, the better informed we are to vote.
This is Awesome Radio.
All right, we're back. Thank you, Ms. Akila McCarty. We appreciate that. Look forward to seeing you guys tonight. Please join us. All right, I asked the question before we left. Is it a myth or a fact? Domestic violence is an impulse control or anger management problem. Sergeant Darnell, I'll let you answer that one. Oh, he on mute. He got it.
There's so much more to it than that.
Uh-huh. Answer, sir. Put it out there. All right.
It's not just an impulse control issue.
There you go. So he's saying it's a myth. Glenn, you want to take a shot at it? Domestic violence is an impulse control and anger management problem. Is that a myth or a fact?
That's kind of like a double-edged sword because it could be both.
Well, follow that sword then, sir.
It could definitely be some of anger, but I'm not sure about the other one.
Well, here's what my literature says, ladies and gentlemen. Abusers act deliberately and with forethought. Abusers choose whom to abuse, and for an example, the abuser will selectively batter their partner, but not their boss. That's what I'm talking about. You're going to beat up that person. How about beat up me? And I've seen that so much in jail cells and in the prison type environment in my almost 6-year career. You're going to beat up a woman. Okay, try me. And it doesn't happen. Is that still holding true that these people are just bullies who select a prey that they can dominate? Is it more like that still, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Wow. How's the court system treating these guys? Do you know anything about sentences or girls that's abusing their partners? I wonder how's the court system and the sentencing going with domestic violence nowadays? Maybe I can look up some stuff, but what do you think just off top, Sarge?
That's a good question. I don't know what trends are. It's certainly a hot topic, and I'm sure they're not taking it lightly. I hope they're not taking it lightly. It's certainly a hot topic for us that we're working passionately about. I mean, we have a whole domestic violence unit here with detectives dedicated to it, and they better not be taking it lightly as much effort as we're putting into it. And at times it seems like we could have a whole sheriff's office dedicated to just that topic. So,
And you know why? Because 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. That's one person out of every 4 or 3 people that you're looking at, including a range of behaviors: slapping, shoving, pushing. In some cases, it might not be considered domestic violence, but I tell you what, 1 in 7 women and 1 in 25 men have been injured. So just look, going to the mall, walking down the hallway, 1 in every 25 have been hurt. 1 in every 4 have been experienced domestic violence. I recall watching a movie once, or a documentary, where the lady finally got enough of it and she took her spouse's life. Then she came up with how he had abused her for so many years, and they relieved her of that responsibility. They relieved her of that conviction. If in other words, how do you say, they didn't charge her for it, or they didn't find her guilty?
And Sarge, let me ask
but
you.
it's important to say, good point to stop for a second. The goal is not to put up with it for years and then strike back, taking someone's life. The goal is to get help, get out, and do it before something happens. And if you know someone that's in trouble, help them get some help. Let's save our lives. Let's save the lives of those we care about. And let's do it before something tragic happens.
It was worse during the pandemic when we were worldwide. It was worse during the pandemic. Also, sexual predators, it was heightened then because people were in closed-in environments and they couldn't get away from the people who were abusing them. So all the numbers went up then. And now we're about to go into the winter season where, people are not getting much sunlight. And if you're on the 37th parallel and below, you get plenty a little bit, but above, you're going to need to take some vitamin D. But I'm not a doctor. But yeah, the weather's about to change, and we're going to have some cabin fever come. And so the abusers and predators, when they come home from work, they ain't going out to go fishing. They're going to be sitting right there looking at you. And you have to cook dinner for that monster, or you have to sleep with that monster. So we got to find a domestic violence number. I had it, but I can't get back to my computer on it. Do we have one for Pitt County? Sarge, can they call you? Or
absolutely. They can call us. They can go to our website and look under victim advocate. That's one of the things and we have resources right there listed on our website, a lot of different resources, state resources, Pitt County resources that they can click on, people right here in our office that they can call and talk to, or email to ask for help, to sit and talk about. There's people here like Center for Family Violence Prevention, which is a nonprofit here in Pitt County. That I rely on, our agency relies on a lot. That North Carolina Victim Assistance Network, some really good people here. Our victim advocates, Sharon Langley, Deborah Shepard, here in our office, are experts at helping people who either have questions or are victims, or know people who are victims and just want to know, what can I do to help them? Their phone numbers are listed here. Their emails are listed here, pittcountysheriff.com, or pittcountysheriff.com/victim-advocacy. If you go to our website, just look under services programs and right down there under victim advocacy.
And Sarge, I want to ask you before I give this number out, just threatening someone with violence, is that considered domestic violence as well?
Is that considered what?
Domestic violence, even just a threat to somebody of violence.
It can be. It would just have to kind of look at the circumstances and kind of weigh it out, and we'll take it on its merits and weigh it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the resource list he was referring to, you got to go there. You have a domestic violence center for family violence prevention, 252-752-3811, domestic violence hotline, in other words, known as SAFE. You have 1-800-799-7233, family planning, immunization, medical, rape victims. There's several resources in regard to that. Don't just let it go. You know it was rape. You know that you just gave in because you didn't want to make him or her upset because you knew what was coming. That's rape, okay? Without consent is rape, even when you gave him some type of weird consent, okay? But I'll let the judge determine that. But I would say you need to get some help if this keep happening to you. So your sexual health, sex addictions, Sex Addicts Anonymous, that's a group, y'all. Sexual Compulsive Anonymous, that's a group, y'all. It's got HEAL. So you want to get 1-800-977-4325. Okay? STD, HIV, that's a real concern if you're in a bad relationship, ladies and gentlemen. What might come home in that package that you love so dearly, but you're codependent of it, you're enabling it to happen, and I'm just going to say stop it. But there is a way to transition, and your safety and health is important. And I know you got children, you don't want to bring them out of school. You know that all of those are valid issues. Get to the holiday season, you're going to look over a lot of stuff because of the family, and you want to go to the family, but you're being made to go. You are a prisoner in your own house, and it could be because of substance abuse. There's a lot of resources on that. And suicide prevention, yeah, you're depressed, but you better not even think about taking your own life on behalf of some foolishness. Now, that's coming from Coach Garrison right there. Yeah, you can cash that check. Do not think of taking your own life because of something that is beyond your control. Stop it. Okay? I love you, and I don't even know who you are, but you just heard it right here. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, Real Crisis Center, they are still funded and operating. And a Real Crisis Dialer Team, I hadn't heard of that one before, but Sergeant Darnell, any more advice, any more things they can do to send a smoke signal out to let them know that they want to get out of this situation?
Just remember, especially now more than ever, that there's nothing you have done or could ever do that could warrant any kind of abuse, whether it's verbal abuse or emotional abuse or physical abuse. Nothing you could do, trust me. Even if you have messed up, nothing could warrant abuse, period. Period. That's just all there is to it. You don't deserve it. Nobody deserves it. Take care of yourself. You deserve to be taken care of.
And Coach Garrison had mentioned suicide, so I just want to say the National Suicide Hotline number 988. And if you are a veteran, if you dial 988 and press 1, that will connect you with the representative from the VA, Veterans Administration. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody.
the battered women's shelter. I remember I was working at the homeless shelter, and we used to bring food over there, and it was my turn to take the food to the battered women's shelter in Greenville. And I got over there. I'm telling a funny story because we got so deep into the broadcast just then. I was standing out there knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door, and I knew there was people there. I saw cars and everything. So I had a big container of food and blah 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 and packages, packaged up. And I took it back to the shelter because I worked there. I took it back to the shelter and they said, "What are you doing, Vern? Didn't you leave the food?" And I said, "I knocked on the door, knocked on the door, and nobody answered." She said, "They're not going to open the door for a man.
That's right.
There's no men allowed in that facility." So with all those cars there, they just ignored me. And, I guess that was a part of their standard operation procedure. And I was supposed to just leave the food at the door and just walk away.
Yeah.
But I found out, so I had to drive all the way back over there. And boy, did I have a big smile on my face, but I felt kind of sneaky. I'm like, oh my God, I just got to go put this on the thing and just get away from here, because the people that are in this home have a lot of issues and they don't want to see a guy.
That's right. That happened to me.
Or I could have been the guy trying to go there to look for my wife or girlfriend.
And that's why he didn't let you in, because you could have been the perpetrator.
Yeah.
And that experience happened to me too when I was driving for a limousine company. But part of my job was to pick up this female, take her to dialysis, and she was at the battered women's shelter. And unlike you, I didn't know what it was. I got there to pick her up. They would not let me in that facility at all. They had to call the company, and the company had to call me to explain to me the reason why they wouldn't let me in. And that's the day I found out why. But that similar thing happened to me.
All right, here's an interesting myth or fact. Domestic violence can occur in older women, but it is quite rare. Domestic violence can occur in older women, but it is quite rare. Is it a myth or a fact?
Myth.
I'm gonna say myth on that one.
All right. Approximately half of all elder abuse in women is thought to be domestic violence, grown old. Older, battered women are less likely to seek and receive help. Wow. Boy.
You want me to answer that?
Oh, what's your comment, sir?
Well, I'm gonna say that's most likely a possibility that could happen. It's a fact, I guess.
Okay. A woman scorned.
Yeah. Okay, well, Sergeant Darnell, we got the fall coming up. Anything with the Sheriff's Department off the top of your head is, do we got Halloween coming up that you guys gonna be getting ready for?
Yeah, they got trunk or treat.
With 1 million officers out on the street. Anything that you know of as far as, is there, the National Nights Out have all been done, I think, right? And so you just basically got the holiday season and people breaking in cars and put your gun away, lock it up, stuff like that, and don't, packages. And we're still in hurricane season, right, Sarge?
I'm not sure, but I'm keeping my eye out there just the same. I'm staying ready. You never can tell the way things go.
I think it runs to the end of November. To be honest, I remember looking. So we've had a light season so far with just a few storms. And I guess the dangerous weather is over. People are having the cookouts and picnics. And I want to go back. We got 3 minutes. So I'll say a couple of words, and then we can wind up giving Sarge a final statement on domestic violence. I got one thing to say. If you are a perpetrator of domestic violence, coming from a hurt child, okay, coming from a hurt child, you will be loved one day if but today, dude, ma'am, whoever is beating up on somebody with your narcissist self, I'm sending a message. I'm not coming to get you, and I can't sick God on you, but I pray for you, Mr. Perpetrator or Miss Perpetrator, that you will fall down on your knees and you will repent for what you are doing to this other person that you are doing it to. And then I would pray that you go get help. All of those things before you run into me out there. And I see you doing something like that. I'm just gonna give you a look and then pray for you. But you are obligated to take care of those children. You're obligated to take care of that family, but you're not obligated to make their life miserable. So, ma'am or sir, if you are doing that, stop it. In the name of Jesus. Okay? That's my final word. Sergeant Darnell, anything else you want to share with the 2 minutes on the clock?
Sure. As far as domestic violence is concerned, if you're a victim, if you don't feel loved, I love you. I want you to know that. It's going to be okay. Get you some help. Get you some help. If you're an abuser, you're a child of God, I love you too. But know this, I'm looking for you. I'm going to find you. I'm praying for you, but I'm going to find you. I'm going to lock you up when I do. Get right. Heroes of the Night, October 31st, trunk or treat. Take care, Pitt County. We love you too.
And my final thought is, I'm giving Sergeant Darnell accolades once again. I want to thank him for that email. This is one reason why he's the PIO, Public Information Officer, because he's always seeking information, always seeking answers and solutions, always asking questions. So when he said he would never have been on the last police report show with the officer from North Carolina Wildlife to learn from him, that is a man that's near and dear to my heart and to all of us in Pitt County. Thank you so much, Sarge.
And when he said, sir, he was looking for you. I can't put them bracelets on, but the law can. And when you get in that center down there, you're not going to get fed well. And it's not going to be home. And I guarantee you won't pick on the cell block manager like you pick on the people that surround you.
Hey, Coach, guess what?
Yeah.
And Sheriff Dan's got a set of pink handcuffs for you.
Good gracious sake. Man, we don't need any of that. Sergeant Darnell, are you in a patrol car now, or are you in one of them black tinted cars with windows where you can't see who you are?
I'm in a little bit of everything. You never know what I'll be in or where I'll be. But I'm seeing you.
Ladies and gentlemen, WBISLP 106.9. See you guys next month. Have a blessed one.
Awesome Radio. 106.9 WBIS.